We awoke one morning in silence. All of the violence was gone. No radio there to define us. It was the finest dawn. We awoke one morning in silence. Only our kindness was left. No hi, hello helping to hide us. Nothing to guide us. We wept. Our tears were a river that ran to the sea. We walked on the water and fell to our knees. We lifted our arms and started to pray. The sun brought us warmth and bore us away. We awoke one morning in silence. Nothing in science explained. The world of words fell out behind us, and only our silence remained. We awoke one morning in wonder, in love with the color of light. Where were we? Where were our lovers? Why were we covered in white? We awoke one morning in wonder. Had we come under a trance? Our fathers came, offered their comfort, and with our mothers we danced. And we remembered how we used to be, and we understood what it means to be free. We held to each other and cried without shame, knowing sorrow and joy are one and the same. We awoke one morning in silence. Nothing in science explained. The world of words fell out behind us, and only our silence remained. Thank you, everybody, for coming, for listening, for being a part of my life. I want to just talk a little bit how I started on this journey of writing so many poems and songs about death, and I can trace it back to decades ago. I went on a retreat to a Trappist Catholic. Trappist are an order of Catholics, monks. My uncle was a Trappist monk in Spencer, Massachusetts, about an hour from here. And I was raised Catholic, but had long been away from it. But something drew me there, the writings of Thomas Merton, the solitude. So I went on this retreat, and there was this one particular monk who would come out to us retreatants and talk with us. And one day he said, if anybody is interested in receiving the sacrament of penance, come by, find me. And so I did. And I went to confession for the first time in decades. And the ritual had changed, no longer went into this little door and spoke through this little veil where it was a priest who knew exactly who you were. And we just sat in a room together, just across from each other. Very close, almost our knees touching. It felt very intimate. And he had the kindest face. And I still knew the ritual being, bless me, Father, for I have sinned. My last confession was 25, 30 years ago. And my sins are. And he's just looking at me. And I began spilling out what my sins are. And it turns out the sins of a 45-year-old man are much the same as of a 14-year-old boy. Pretty much, you cause more damage when you're 45. And as I began going on, he just held up his hand. He said, stop. And he leaned over and he took my hands and he put his head almost our heads were almost touching. And he said, don't worry about the sins. Don't worry about that. Here is what you need to look at. Death. Death is the onrushing fact of your life. You may think it distant. It is not. It is coming soon. And your work is to understand and accept that that is no tragedy, that we die. And, I didn't immediately wake up. But something changed in me, and I began writing songs. I recorded the whole record called Practicing Dying, songs about death. I'd walk around cemeteries looking for ideas. And I've kind of been doing that ever since, in a way. And right now I'd like to play for you one of the songs that came out of that. Death came by for a visit. I sighed, I said, come on. It couldn't be that time now, is it? I'm sure you've got it all wrong. So he checked his pocket-sized day at a glance. I'm early, an hour or two. So why don't you tell me while you got the chance why life is so precious to you? I showed him my children, my wife, and the moon. We laughed, we turned somersaults, played Sergeant Pepper and sang out a tune, and I showed him how to waltz. Oh, how we did waltz. Now, Death, I've shown you a little of life. Tell me a bit about you. Will I see angels, colors, and lights? Or will it be bitter and cruel? I said I was frightened of what lay ahead, and sad for those who would cry. He held me gently to his chest and sang this lullaby. I'm your mother, your father, your grandparents too. I'm days that fade to the moon. I've always been with you, though you never knew. I'm your mother, your father, and now I'm you. Thank you. So what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to show you a series of photographs that I've come across while I've been reading obituaries and getting to know these people, all of these people who passed, all the people I'll be talking about, people and some not people. We've lost in 2025. And the inspiration for these short poems are obituaries that I found in the New York Times. Some of these people I knew instantly, some of them I was not aware of at all. And in reading the obituary, I would say, oh, there's a way in. And an obituary is just an impression of a life. And the New York Times obituary writers are kind of famous for creating almost short stories, these beautiful pictures of a life. And so I'm just making an impression of an impression, just some other way, some other perspective. I think that's all I have to say. So I'm going to just begin. I'm sure most of you know this photograph. This is a Pulitzer Prize winning photograph from 1973 by the photographer Saul Vader, entitled Burst of Joy. Robert Louis Sturm, born 1933. He was every man returned from war. She was every girl without a father. A photograph could say no more. And miraculously, it caught her, ecstatic, embracing, levitation. She still keeps the photo near. When guests ask for explanation, she says, "I'm so glad you're here." Alice Wong, 1974. I'm amazed that I lasted this long. My body is a complete dumpster fire. Strength does not require a body strong, but an unrelenting desire to stand when legs say, sorry, to speak with a voice erased, to see that your body is no Ferrari, yet you belong in the race. This is a scene from 1921, Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's what a young girl saw. Viola Fletcher, she was 7. This is the site of a massacre where at least 1,000 homes of African-American men and women were burned, perhaps 300 people killed. And that story, no one was ever prosecuted for these crimes. And the story itself buried for decades. Viola Fletcher, 1914. The sky of ash looked like snow. The pile of bodies, no equivalence. It happened so fast. How could she know to be black is to exist in dissonance? A massacre's oldest survivor, a nation denied what she had witnessed, a century the truth was denied her. What is my part in this? The Constitution, 1787. Despite its several flaws, like only Caucasian men or people, it did create a nation of laws, and worship did not require a steeple. Freedom of press and speech, how quaint, and immigrants given a chance. Now the original writing grows faint, and we are down to one branch. This is a painting by the artist Eric Bulatov. He was and the title of the painting is All Glory to the State. Eric Bulatov, 1933. The words are prison bars, restricting the view. All glory to the state obscures a sky of blue. His work appeared in Russia, shut down in an hour. To go beyond fear and touches, art is power. To create despite tyranny, the epitome of brave. But often it appears that we hesitate and cave. We don't need a Vladimir to imprison Pussy Riot. Sometimes it's the mirror saying, why don't you just be quiet? I think we all know who this is. Wow, what a photograph. Diane Keaton, 1946. In Hair, she Broadway debuted. Just delightful, the diagnosis. The cast was asked to be nude. She declined the $50 bonus. It wasn't because she was embarrassed, and she could have used the money, Lord knows. But she simply had the self-awareness. She looked better, layered in clothes. And oh, what a style, guileless elation. She let us see we are free to be odd. Her explanation for her adulation, la-di-da, la-di-da. This is Tony Roberts. He showed up in a lot of Woody Allen movies. In Annie Hall, trying to get Alvy to move to California. Tony Roberts, 1939. He brought balance to Annie Hall angst, casual confidence and nonchalance. He must have had luck, somehow got through. $1 Million Duck was his screen debut. But enough about Tony. What about that duck? Was it once homely, but had some good luck? Bought some shares of Sony, made $1 million? The moral is, you only need a little pluck, or maybe what the... Oh my gosh, I just love this photograph. We'll just stay here for a while. Robert Redford, 1936. He was radiantly glamorous. Did death pause and consider the camera and its now lost cause? Illusory grace captured his sunlit dance, first to last chapter, gone in a glance. We sat enraptured in the dark, carried, bare feet in a park, lives ordinary. Death tenderly closes those eyes so blue, credits roll, the river runs through. Michelle Singer Reiner, 1955. Harry and Sally had a different ending before Rob encountered Michelle. Fiction blending, heart mending, rending, so many more stories there were to tell. But lives tend to stray from script. A photographer, confidant, wife. A chapter from headlines ripped does not erase a beautiful life. I'm sure a lot of you know this woman, maybe grew up with her. It's June Lockhart, 1925. A woman wiser than Solomon, somehow she could always tell the danger facing Will Robinson or that Timmy was trapped in a well. Lassie in space would have had great charm instead of being lost or with a dog on a farm. She met Judy Garland in St. Louis, in movies with Bette Davis, Gary Cooper. A TV wife with husbands clueless, maternally earnest is how we knew her. And I think a perfect segue from this woman is this man. David Lynch, 1946. You felt it, Blue Velvet, before the brain was aware, the uneasiness of ease, the too bright Rockwell dawn, vivid flowered picket fence announcing, beware. Cut to contentment, a man in his yard, a finger gone. As were our preconceptions that a movie could never capture the everyday and detail of the weirdness of who we are. The rising and dissension of disaster before, after. Has anyone ever been more benign and bizarre? Marianne Faithfull, 1946. It is the evening of the day. Words sung in her adolescence land in an entirely different way after she arrived at her essence. Years and octaves slipped away from spotlight to dark night of abuse, finally became a child at play, cabaret cues of a blue chanteuse. The penny, 1793. It was the mark of frugality, saved or earned, for an offer of one, so much to be learned, the going rate for another one's thoughts, back before privacy was for naught. There is no pretty for cost atmospheric, and crypto from heaven is a pretty bad lyric. Arcades, candy, and do I hope in vain that this extinction won't extend to that Liverpool lane. This is Tony Harrison. He was a working class poet from Wales, grew up in a mining district and a real working class hero. And was almost the poet laureate of the UK. Almost. He seeded his poems with humor and irony, his themes major, but often in a minor key. Working class roots seared by nobility, poetry infused with furious futility. Poet laureate, well, almost was. He was not sorry, but only because he would have said, up yours, to Mr. Blair, and maybe that Tony should grow a pair. Andrea Gibson, 1975. Wonderful poet. And Tractor wrote a lot about their last 4 years coping with ovarian cancer. Andrea Gibson, 1975. She wrote, "Fear is the seat of fearlessness." Just think of that one line. Fear is the seat of fearlessness. Whole books, Buddhist books, have been written just to say what she says in just a few words. Fear is the seat of fearlessness, they wrote, addressing chronic stage fright, even as they reduced listeners to tearfulness, welcoming into light of night a 4-year fight. Does disease know irony? Death is delivered by that which provides the genus of life. But reason and rhyme are both ill-considered to measure divine lines on the edge of a knife. And then she wrote, "Wasn't it death that taught me to stop measuring my lifespan by length, not by length, but by width?" Another poet, Hal Sirowitz from Brooklyn, and I was not aware of him, but he's great. And now he's gone, but not. Hal Sirowitz, 1949. At 30, he stepped into poetry. They said, "Write what you know." Okay, my mother's still controlling me. And where did that go? "Don't stick your arm out the window," Mother said. "Another car can sneak up behind us and chop it off. Then your father will have to stop, stick the severed piece in the trunk, and drive you to the hospital. It's not like the parts of your telescope that snap back on. A doctor will have to sew it. You won't be able to wear short sleeves. You won't want anyone to see the stitches." Another poet, Michael Ray Richardson, 1955. He had an uncanny knack for godliness, as if defenders were not there. He had a handicap every bit as obvious as a man in a wheelchair. As a player, Sugar Ray Flawless on his way to the Hall of Fame, but cocaine has its own laws. His Achilles heel took him out of the game. Game over, wanted to disappear, got sober, helped others to change. He'll be remembered for both his careers and for this memorable exchange. A reporter once asked him, What do you think is happening to this team?" "The ship be sinking," Richardson replied. "Well, how far can it sink?" another reporter asked. Michael Ray responded, "The sky's the limit." It's George Foreman. Most people probably know him because of the grills, but he became famous when he knocked out Joe Frazier. He was the underdog, and he knocked him out with. And Howard Cosell made this famous call to sports fans, or at least boxing fans would know this. Cosell kept saying, "Frazier, down goes Frazier, down goes Frazier." Citing religious beliefs, so George Foreman, 1949. Citing religious beliefs and his mother's wishes, he walked away from what he loved, preached loaves and fishes, but kids, a missus, called him back to pick up his gloves. Maybe he just wanted to once more to thrill and savor being the unfavored savior. It's one thing to hear, "I'll buy your grill," rather than, "Down goes Frazier." Then the rope-a-dope rumble when Ali owned that ring. George was humbled. They became enemies. They were enemies to friends. Did they talk about how with just one swing their lives are defined, means to ends? Were they gentle with one another when a hand was no longer a fist? Did they talk about George's mother as Ali dimmed in the mist? Down went Frazier, and the greatest counted out in the final round. And now Foreman is the latest. Heavy is the heavyweight crown. Sonny Curtis, 1937, Texas songwriter. Dust Bowl dugout born, that'll be the day, guitar. When Buddy Holly's wings were torn, Sonny could have been the star. But he did not seek the spotlight, saw the danger of being it. Writing is what he got right, and he wrote 100 hits. 15 minutes was all it took. I fought the law and the law won. I fought the law and the law won. 3 chords, the truth, and oh, what a hook. A good outlaw doesn't need a gun. He wrote for The Clash and The Boss, Roy Orbison, the Bobby Fuller Four. He wrote for the girl whose hat was tossed, Minneapolis, Mary Tyler Moore. It's really interesting reading these, like I'd heard, of course I knew I Fought the Law and the Law Won. I knew a little bit about Sonny Curtis, but never in a million years would I have thought that he wrote the theme to the Mary Tyler Moore Show. I love this photograph of Roberta Flack. Roberta Flack, 1937. Helen Reddy turned down the song. The title did not suit her ambition. I hope Helen did not spend too long killing softly her decision. Though not written by Roberta, good Lord, did she ever own it. And every time we heard it, we remembered we had known it. A voice, a look, a face, a place, a river's whisper, a distant train. We happened upon a gift of grace, and ever it will remain. I love that song, and I used to think, what a moment to have been there, seeing this performer, Don McLean, I guess, Killing Me Softly is based on. And what a moment to have just witnessed and be changed. And then I think, I have had that moment as I guess, now I'm explaining the poem, so I'll stop. Okay, let's move on. Garth Hudson, if you don't recognize him here, you'll recognize him here. He's the one who looks like he's, what do you call that? I know you're all muted, you can't tell me. Looking for water. It's not that. Okay. So one thing I love about reading these obituaries, I'll read them through, and sometimes I'll look for just a little bit, a sliver that tells me something, another perspective. And what I found about Garth Hudson, he was an enormously talented musician. They say he could have played in the symphony. He was heads and shoulders above anybody in rock, really. And the way he was born, there was a piece in the obituary saying he was surrounded by sound, the sounds of his mother and father. Garth Hudson, 1937. What was the world to this little baby? Piano, accordion, saxophone, drum, an organ whirling. Do you think that maybe mom and dad are who we become? The band would have been just another band, but for the swirling, intricate organ, reigniting the world like a fire fan, burning from New York to New Orleans. They're all gone, and yet the weight remains as crippling as hard lives of grief, as light as a needle on a record of strains of when I get off of this mountain, relief. Oh, guitar players will know who this is. This is Steve Cropper, who was this brilliant musician, and he worked mostly recorded in Memphis under the label. He worked in the studio of Stax, S-T-A-X. And I'm teaching this course right now, this online course on Motown. And Motown is sort of the sister or brother of what was going on Stax and Chess Records in Chicago. But Stax was known for its sort of bite to the soul. So this is Steve Cropper, 1941. He shaped lean gut bucket soul at Stax, an MG of Booker T and precise and yeah, fuck it all over those tracks. Memphis brand, slow hand. Wrote Dock of the Bay with Otis, Midnight Hour with Pickett. Everybody stood up and took notice. Telecaster, oh how he hit it. Gospel ringing, guitar Sam and Dave calling out, play it Steve. Single string singing, bringing soul, man. That's the kind of church make you believe. So let's listen. I'm going to go back in a minute. I just wanted to let people know, in case you're thinking like, have I written 1,000 of these? No. Um, I think the entire evening will be like another hour and 15 minutes or so. And in a little bit, we'll take just a short break. But I want to get back to Soul Man. So I'm going to share that screen again. And there's Sam and Dave. That's Sam Moore on the right. Sam Moore, 1935. The tenor half of Sam and Dave, Double Dynamite, Sultans of Sweat. Soul Man, Hold On, I'm a Comin' to Save, souls trapped in Bobby V. debt. Their shows were scorching, kinetic, athletic, balletic, and sanctified. An aesthetic that was more than magnetic. Audiences were left liquefied. They met on stage, purely by accident. A musical match, but never friends. Shared hits and heroin, and oh, how fast it went. Walked off stage in 81 and never spoke again. I did not know of their differences. I want to think art heals all, that we can bridge our distances, and that art will sing with Paul. This is Todd Snider, great musician who never hit the big time, but just great. Todd Snider, 1966. I know I'll get wild, I know I'll get drunk, but it ain't like I got a bunch of bodies in my trunk. My old man used to call me a no-good punk, and I still don't know why. I think I'm an all-right guy. He was witty, wry, and full of what the F, echoes of Prine, Chris, and Jerry Jeff. He saw the log in his father's eye, and so fought the law of why bother to try. I think I'm an all right guy. I just want to live until I gotta die. I know I ain't perfect, but God knows I try. I think I'm an all right guy. I think I'm all right. I think I'm all right. Those are his lyrics. It didn't sound at all like. That's the thing about I'll send out the actual text, what I'm reading, and they all have links to those obituaries, and you can find out much more about all of these people. This is definitely two people I'd never heard of, but was not aware of this, that they were something. These are the Kessler twins, and they were quite famous, especially in Europe, for their synchronized choreography, dance, and Alice and Ellen Kessler, 1936. Half hour off at the delivery of saying goodbye to mother, sisters did not want to live to see one without the other. Synchronized choreography, shadows could do no better. 80 years partnering entropy took their final bow together. Terry Martin Hecker, who was quite famous for a while. She wrote a couple of memoirs. The first, she was like on all the talk shows about celebrating the joys of marriage, of just how it's great being a wife. Until Terry Martin Hecker, 1932. Fame arrived with her first memoir, a celebration of marriage and housewifery. fame reprised after her honey's au revoir, and she wrote how naive she was. Patriarchy got some disparagement when she did not fare well in court. Left with nothing but embarrassment, she became mayor of Nyack, New York. Look at this building. Look at this. What is this? This is the Guggenheim Museum in Bilbao, Spain. I imagine some of you may have been there. I think I've seen some of this architect's work. It's just hard to imagine that it came out of this guy's brain. Look at that. We are just incredible beings, what we can do. Frank Gehry, 1929. If I could write like Gehry architected, then you would opine as I finished this line, oh my God, Karaher's perfected how to bend time with a felicitous rhyme. Denny demonstrates visceral power and structural bravura, wild exuberance that buries the prairie. Right light longing for prayer, pure as the Bilbao brilliance of Gehry. But alas, I cannot hit those heights. And to be frank is enough. We need those singular genius lights, and we need someone to write this kind of stuff. There once was an architect named Gehry, whose designs were perfectly airy, unlike the Frank who preceded, and as with nature, rightly receded, but they were both good, very. Moving on with architecture. The East Wing, 1942. If the West Wing is the mind of the nation, then the East Wing is the heart, said Betty Ford. Let me read that again. If the West Wing is the mind of the nation, then the East Wing is the heart, said Betty Ford. For us, it's just one more demonstration of the tyranny we're marching toward. Oligarch architecture, gold leaf greed. O my country, 'tis of thee. Billionaire checks, which the Führer needs so they can all dance on history. No, he's still around, but the Center for Disease Control, which began in 1946. Children died of measles this year. None were vaccinated, and this we know. Other diseases are now near. Hey, let's bring back polio. Eventually Trump will be gone, and we don't know what's ahead. For many of us, there will be a new dawn, but thousands of kids will be dead. The title of this poem is As Many as 1 Million. Those lost to foreign aid cuts, most of them children. They're not Christian or white, so you know what? Why don't we just kill them? Exactly who is complicit here? Or more precisely, who is not? Are any of these fascists trying to disappear the stain of that damned spot? Probably not. The Youngbloods. Jesse Colin Young, 1941. It was a vow we sang to one another, ceaselessly bending sword to plow. Come on, people now, Smile on your brother, everybody get together. Try to love one another right now. The word love is not the lyric's most operative. That sentiment is distant when there is contempt. But maybe it's enough if all we got to give is at least to consider an honest attempt. I think this is how love is perfected, to not hate those who are evil and work to get others elected. Let's get together. Come on, people. So I'm going to play the song, and you can take a break while the song is playing. And I'll take a couple of minute break, and then we'll finish up in like just 10 or 15 minutes more.
Come on, people now, smile on your brother.
that song. I hadn't heard that song in so long, and I've been playing it lately. And there's just that lovely part, the beginning of it, just those guitar strings, and then at one point, everything drops away, and you just hear just the bass guitar come back in, and then followed by that guitar lick or whatever it is, this filigree kind of thing. But it just, what a beautiful, beautiful song. He was around. The Youngbloods broke up. He went out on his own, Jesse Colin Young, shortly after, and he said he just never ever tired of that song. He didn't write it, but certainly identified with him. And he wrote a lot of other stuff. Robert Plant has I have an extra verse in the text, which I just put in the chat, a link to the text at my website, that Robert Plant covers one of his songs. That's pretty dark. So let's just finish up here. There's not that. Thank you. This is really wonderful for me. I hope for you as well. But I'm not going to take care of you. Stand on my side. This is a lovely person to finish up to follow that song. This is Chris Ponette, 1957, a Catholic priest. He buried the orphans who died alone, an honor more than what they had known. Bodies abandoned, left unclaimed, the aged, unfathomed, newborns unnamed. A Catholic priest who made some noise and hearkened back to the Berrigan boys, who knew God did not reside at the altar, but at everyone's side, no matter what you called her. This is Chuck Kesey. We're probably more familiar with his brother Ken. So Chuck Kesey, 1935. Two brothers, acid obsession. Their influence was dramatic. Lysergic was brother Ken's, but Chuck was more into lactic, probiotic yogurt, natural foods, a quaint but quantum leap. You could taste both and then have a sacred sojourn into dairy deep and weep at how astounding is your diet, oh so cultured, especially if it's counter and a cure for ulcers. Then maybe fire up a bowl of Oregon Reefer, and then another bowl, granola with kefir. Kanzi. I love this photograph. Kanzi, 1980. Using symbols with humans he communicated. Played piano. Paul McCartney joined. Peter Gabriel too, and they were elated. An unusual occurrence in Des Moines. A bonobo born and raised in captivity. Ethical concerns, moral and legal. And another question for music history. Could he have been the fifth Beatle? I have a friend, Dan, who I've known for 30 years. Met him in Al-Anon. We've talked weekly, sometimes for years, fell out of touch for a couple of years, but now we see each other again, and every Sunday I take my granddaughter to visit him. And a couple of months ago, we had a talk, and this poem is about that talk. The name of the poem is Dan's Brain, 1949. I have some sobering news, he told me. Alzheimer's. Tears stood in for words. I'll begin saying goodbye to the old me. And then he spoke of what he had observed. The lapses, more than absent-minded, the mapless tales of repetition. His neighbor's name, he cannot find it, or the access to his erudition. He knew of trees in North America, the Latin names of bush and bird. He will forget this fucking unfairness and much of what has occurred. I do not think this is the end of joy. Perhaps he will live in used to be and gradually return to boy when he first climbed a tree and saw a world so very vast, a sky so very blue above, and not a thing was in the past. The day he fell in love. Rebecca Heinemann, 1963. Beaten by parents as a youth because she would not conform to her name. Appearances were not her truth, and so she abandoned that game. At 14, she lived behind a dumpster, incrementally inched down the road, found a community that loved her, and taught herself to code. To survive was her only ambition, but she had a mind Newtonian, which eventually led to transition and video games in the Smithsonian. How many Rebeccas won't take the risk? And those who do, how many are erased? How many Rebeccas will never exist, legally defaced? Everyone has felt invisible. Deep despair has come at us, but I cannot imagine how to live with an arbitrary absence of status. I think I was drawn to this obituary just because I saw this photograph. Who is this? This is Ruth Q, 1946. A life distilled into phrases few, a well-written obituary gets to a truth. It's in these hills of Malaysia I knew the buried beauty of botanist Ruth. If you imagine the world tigerless, you understand the need for a profound shift. But when it comes to biodiversiveness, she thought plants got a pretty short shrift. She was dazzled by the profusion, the diversity of ancient forest plants. She knew every year we lose some, but awareness gives them a chance. This was her dance. She said, I focus on modest-sized plants on the forest floor or on the sides of hills because I could gather them myself without the aid of assistance. And this is my dance. We can change the world, each of us. Let us set outrageous goals in the ordinariness of our lives. And to begin, go sit on a hill, then rise and do what you are called to do. I have one more slide to show. And before I do, I want to say that there was a time in my life, and it was just in 1999, where I was really at a low point in my life. I had lost my job. I was having difficulty getting access to see my daughter. I was very depressed. I was 2 years from a crack house, and kind of on the edge. And I was sitting in Northampton, Mass, in the basement of this coffee shop, reserved for the despairing people in Northampton. And I had the New York Times with me, back when they had papers. And I opened it up, and I saw this. Cleveland Williams, 66, loser to Ali for title, dies. And this is where my first writing out of obituary came, from this man who I recognized somehow, because when I was young, I remember the fight, and I hated Cleveland Williams because I loved Ali. And of course, you have to hate your enemy, and he was the enemy. So here he was. And just that title, loser to Ali. And so I read the obituary, and I didn't really even plan on doing this, but as I walked home, I began singing and writing a song that just kind of came to me, that just retracts the obituary. So I'm going to sing that song to you, and then we'll close. Cleveland Cat Williams went out for a drive on the outskirts of Houston on a Saturday night. The cops pulled him over, and it was alleged Cleveland Cat Williams resisted arrest. He was shot. He tasted the warm desert dirt. He awoke in a white room, and all that he heard, he just might pull through it, but he'll never walk again. Then Cleveland Cat Williams called on a friend. Oh, deliver me, oh, deliver me. Take me, oh Lord, wherever your river leads. You're the only one who could know what's in store. But I'd sure like to fight in the ring once more. He discovered his faith, recovered his strength, returned to the ring no longer afraid. He stepped to the canvas to thunderous applause, 'cause Cleveland Cat Williams spoke for us all. And he boxed with brilliance, he put his man down. He continued to win, got a shot at the crown. He looked to the corner, to Muhammad Ali. Then Cleveland Cat Williams remembered his plea. Oh, deliver me, oh, deliver me. Take me, oh Lord, wherever your river leads. You're the only one who could know what's in store, and I'm sure glad to fight in the ring once more. Now if I wrote this story, how could I choose? These were two good men, neither should lose. But life's not the movies, and so what occurred? Cleveland went down for the count in the third. He boxed for a few years, but his moment was gone. It was all he knew, and so he kept on. Then he lost his quickness, his money, his fame, till a suitcase made of cardboard was all that remained. And he never stopped fighting, but he laid down his gloves, and he drifted from life on a river of love. And I think of him often when I'm in despair, 'cause Cleveland Cat Williams taught me this prayer. Oh, deliver me, oh, deliver me. Take me, oh Lord, wherever your river leads. You're the only one who could know what's in store, but I'd sure like to fight. I'd sure like to fight. I'd sure love to fight in the ring once more. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. I'll send out a recording of this. You can access I'll send out a link to my words. Thank you. And pass this on. You know, it's been a lovely thing for me to prepare for this, to write this. It's just been wonderful to share this gift that I have. When I was at the Zen Center in Upai in Santa Fe, Joan Halifax, the ringleader of that Zen bunch, said to me, your work is to share your work. And so that's what I'm doing. So thank you. Good night. Love to hear from you. All right.